I have quickly begun to be ashamed of being white, and I would really like to ask of your perspective on white people being ashamed of being white.
It's okay to be white.
Disagree.
You disagree? And why do you disagree with that?
It's the whole privilege thing. It's just,
doesn't feel it's okay to be white. And people try to tell me that I hate myself because I talk about holding black people accountable. You will never hear me in my life say it is not okay to be black.
I'm glad to have you, amazing viewer. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate that you're spending your precious time with me. If this is your first time here, consider subscribing. And if you're coming back to watch my video, you are the real one. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section as we interact. Let's dive into today's video. We'll be looking at white shame. Ashamed of being white because of the history of slavery. So you know the history of slavery. I don't want to go into details on that, imagine being born and you knowing that your parents owned slaves, and the whole background history of slavery. I just want you to imagine that. And yeah, most of them are fallen into shame, and there's something that they're calling white guilt. They're feeling guilty of the history. And do you think it's right to feel ashamed of it? And some are saying maybe if there could have been a twist to it, maybe we could have been the oppressed rather than being the oppressors, And yeah, I'll be leaving my thought at the end of the video just for background and just to understand what is happening. I want us to listen to the few stitches that I came across on TikTok. It's important to mention that these are TikTok videos as we interact with their thoughts. I'll be leaving my thoughts at the end of the video. I have something to tell you guys.
This whole thing that is a part of the white experience, and it is that when something makes a white person feel uncomfortable, everybody shushes it up. It's like, shh, no, let's not talk about that. And then when we talk about slavery, it's like, shh, no, that makes us uncomfortable.
Why do y'all want to be oppressed so bad?
I think it's mainly because we romanticize oppression. We think it's better than being the oppressor. For some reason, we think it's easier, because it means we don't have to examine our own inner biases, because we want something to be righteous about. If we're the wronged party, if we're the victim, we're right. But in the event that we're the oppressor, which is the case in a lot of situations, that involves some introspection that scares the shit out of us cowardly folks. Some of us, anyway. But I really do think we romanticize oppression. We think it's easier to be the oppressed class than the oppressor because we have none of the context of actually living with the realities of being oppressed. At least we've never been oppressed for the color of our skin. But we'll grab at any opportunity to pretend we are, because we've convinced ourselves it's better and easier, which is false.
I'm deeply ashamed to be white. The more I learn about my family's history, the more ashamed I am. A small percentage of me that isn't white came from the abuse of minority women. Nothing makes me more ashamed than thinking about what had to happen to give me 1% of non-white DNA. I had an interesting conversation with my dad a long time ago. I'm 32 now. I think he told me when I was maybe 21, 22, I don't honestly remember. But he told me he found a picture of my great-great-grandfather, my great-grandmother's father. And I spent a lot of time with my great-grandmother. And he told me, shit, it was actually longer than that. He told me the man was white and that I look exactly like him. I got no shame in that. If for no other reason than I actively work to piss off the idea that I have of who he could have been. Largely because the predominant blackness of me has cost me the accessibility of my history. So I have no choice but to assume he was one of them. So I actively work day in, day out to distance myself from what I can become. I'm looking at you, Herschel Walker, and I'm making a conscientious effort to stomp out anything that gave him joy. And I'm saying all that to say this. Take that sentiment. It is very much a gift to you and any other white person who feels the same way as you. Turn that shame into motivation. Don't just lug it around. Use it as a weight to motivate. Go do something productive with it. Challenge a family member just to get started. Bust up a Klan rally if you really just feeling zesty. Run for politics. I don't know. Use something. Do something with your privilege that will advance the cause as a whole. And I'm not just explicitly talking to you, Nick Mom. I'm saying to the white people in general who share your sentiment. Don't just feel the shame. Do something with it. And I'm not saying you're not. I'm just hoping that this gives you a better, I don't know, inclination of what to do with that feeling. So yeah. And I took a quick look on your page. I see that you're actively on the way to doing that. So appreciate it.
And why do you disagree with that?
It's the whole privilege thing. It's just,
Okay, that is sad. So there's a white man who doesn't feel it's okay to be white. And people try to tell me that I hate myself because I talk about holding black people accountable. You will never hear me in my life say it is not okay to be black. Again, if you're white and you feel like it's not okay to be white, you are wrong. It is okay to be white. Do not let people, and a bunch of people have made white people feel like it's not okay. Clearly, it is okay. Imagine the pressure or the weight that he carries around on a regular basis, feeling like it's not okay to be what he is. And the even crazier thing is he really has no control about it. So he feels it's not okay for him to be who he is due to stuff he's never done. In addition to that, due to factors that he can't control. He was born white, he can't control that. That is sad. And the fact that we as a culture have made him feel that way is absolutely insane to me. I'm going to say it one more time. It is okay to be white. Not all white people are bad. We need to be better and we need to destroy this narrative because this is terrible.
Being white means being born with the guilt of knowing that my ancestors probably owned slaves. That's not great, right? I'm not even comfortable sleeping in a master bedroom anymore.
I have quickly begun to be ashamed of being white, and I would really like to ask of your perspective on white people being ashamed of being white. Maggie, I'm gonna say one thing. Do not be ashamed of who you are, because you cannot change who you are. I popped out a brown baby. Is it my fault? No. While I was being made, I didn't ask, hey, can I be white? That's just not how it works. We get what we get, and we live with it. In reality, you should not be ashamed of your color. You should not be ashamed of what shade your skin is. Nobody should be ashamed of it. You should be proud of who you are as an individual, regardless of skin color. You should be proud of your intellect. You should be proud of what skills you have. You should be proud of your personality. You should be proud of the good choices that you make. And I am extremely sorry that you feel ashamed that you're white. Nobody should have to feel that. You have no control over what happened in the past. It's a done deal. It's set in stone. But you have complete and total control over your choices and your future and what you do with that. But don't you ever be ashamed of being white. If you're black, don't you ever be ashamed that you're black. If you're Asian, don't you ever feel ashamed that you're Asian. If you're Native American, don't you ever feel ashamed that you're Native American. Do not be ashamed of who you are, once again, because of your ethnicity or where you come from. Be proud of it. And for those who are saying you're kissing up to the white people, I'm not. I'm just stating fact. What happened 200 years ago is not your fault. And I will say this. For said the time being that we're living in now, where everything must be accepted, and this is an era of acceptance, we're starting to see how truly false that is, especially when it comes to race. So I'm sorry that you feel this way. I really hope you do find some reconciliation and be able to find who you are as a person and be proud of it. Own it. Just be you.
What I hate about the whole whitewashing history, when they say, well, we shouldn't make little white kids feel bad. What the fuck? It's history. Why can't white kids learn about slavery, Native American genocide? I mean, why can't we teach that? Why is that bad? It's part of history.
2 ways to not feel ashamed or guilty about being white. Acknowledge white privilege exists and that you benefit from it, and then change your life in accordance, including this new perspective to balance equity in our society, or refuse white privilege exists.
I want to relate the last few thoughts to something that's mostly happened in the African community. So when we were growing up, there's something that was very common. When somebody passes on in the family, it was always being hidden from younger children, you know. They were saying, no, we don't want them to get hurt, so your dad traveled while he's not there. So, and then when they come to realize in the future that what they were told was a lie, So it even affects them even more. So what I want to pass, the point I want to pass across here is why twist the history. Just when you teach the children the history the way it is, they will start finding peace with the history from an early age. So most American that I've interacted with, I came to realize that they don't really have the white people, I'm saying, even black, they don't get the history, the black history in its entirety, this slavery history, because it's not a black history, by the way. It is, it's American history, they don't get it fully the way it was done. So it's even twisted through education and stuff. So it's not taught in its entirety. So it's also tell us to go back and review our curriculum. What are we teaching our children? Are we teaching them the right thing? Are we teaching them the right history? So that's where it has to start for us to make the change. And I love the point where people say use the shame to make a positive change. That's the only way we can do it. So since you're ashamed of it, it means you're finding something that is not okay with it. So make peace with it. Make peace by speaking the truth about what is true. That was my thoughts on this. That was it about this video, guys. Don't forget to give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so that you get notified whenever we have a new video. Don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comment section. I love interacting and I will be glad to read from you. Goodbye for now, until we meet again.